Let's take an example of a microservices communication pattern, and in that regard, let's take a look at the OpenFeign. Let's say we have two microservices, service A and the service B. Service A communicates with the service B, and we are using the HTTP for it. We can use other protocols such as gRPC and so on, but in this case, specifically for the HTTP, right? We are using the either REST template and the HTTP client. What's the problem of using the REST template or other HTTP clients? The problem is repetitive boilerplate code, and it's error prone, so it's difficult to maintain and test. No type safety when calling the other services, and the service discovery integration requires manual coding. What's the solution? Solution for that is to, instead of writing a boilerplate repetitive code, to use OpenFeign. It's a declarative HTTP client. So what's that mean? What it means is we are creating an interface, and we don't need to write the implementation on this service A side. So for example, so what we do, right? How it works exactly. So OpenFeign, it talks to Eureka to discover service location. After that, it uses load balancer for client-side load balancing, and it sends the HTTP request, and behind the scene, which is using the web client or REST template. So what are the advantages after implementing the OpenFeign? Advantages is that the no manual REST template boilerplate code. It's an easy interface-based service-to-service calls. It also has the built-in integration with the Eureka, load balancer, and the Spring Cloud config. And it also supports the interceptor, retries, and the fault tolerance, such as the resilience 4G that we have seen earlier. So let's go and see that how exactly we are implementing that. It's plain and simple. So here what we have is in our pom.xml, we are adding one dependency for the OpenFeign, and after that so what we do is we are creating the hotel service, right? So we are creating a Feign client, the interface, and for the booking service, we'll call the hotel service. So we are creating a client for it, and we will call the hotel's endpoint, right? So name already registered. The hotel service name is already registered in the Eureka. So and in our controller, so what we do, we are removing here the REST template, and instead of the REST template, as you can see here, we are not using that anymore, and instead of that we are using the hotel service. So instead of that we are using the OpenFeign client. So what we do here is we are calling the endpoint, and we are returning whatever the response it returns us. It will do exactly the same, and behind the scene on Feign client, OpenFeign client does exactly the same as the REST template. It converts the code to the REST template, but it's hide behind the scene. We don't need to write the boilerplate code. That's it. My service is already running. I started 4 services. We have actually not. Let me start them again. So let's start first the discovery service, and let's after that start our hotel service, and after that let's start our booking service. Okay, they have already started. Now let's go and see that indeed it works as we expected it to work. So let's go and see. Let's so in our let's go and reach the booking services hotels endpoint, right? If we are reaching the endpoint, it returns us the response from our hotel service. In this case, again, so what we did is we exactly did the same as we did with the REST service earlier, but here it's much more cleaner. As you can see here, we are just creating the interface, and we don't need to write the implementation. And on the client side, on the controller side, we are just calling that service and returning whatever the response it returns to us.